Hey guys, Team Special DK here. This is Austin, and I'm coming at you with the list that I ran in North American World Championship qualifiers this past weekend. It is a little bit late, but I definitely wanted to get it to you guys. It is a clean list. I was a couple wins short of top 64, but it did perform pretty well this weekend. I'm going to go over my deck, some of my card choices, and the things I would change if I were to play it again. So let's get started. 1 Towers, 2 Maxi, 1 Monolith, 2 Scout, 1 Tramp, 3 Carrier, 1 Disc, 3 Helix, 1 Shell, 3 Stealth, 2 MST, 1 Raigeki, 1 Sack, 3 Summoner's Arts, 3 Upstarts, 1 Bottomless, 3 Fiendish, 2 Lose One Turn, 2 Mirror Force, 1 Recreate, 1 Skill Drain, 1 Torrential, 1 Vanities, and now for the sideboard, 1 Majesty's Fiend, 1 Vanity's Fiend, 2 Necro Valley, 2 Pendulum Impenetrable, 2 Shared Rides, 2 Spell Shattering Arrows, 2 Monarch Stormforth, 2 Shadow Imprisoning Mirrors, 1 Soul Drain. And then for the extra, 1 Abyss Dweller, 1 Karen Gorgon, Castell, Diamond Dyer, Excitin, Gagaga, Ragna Zero, Rhapsody, Heartland Draco, Constellar Diamond, and Ptolemaeus. Alright, so the extra deck obviously is lacking a couple cards. I wanted to be playing 101, stuff like that. But I didn't have them, I didn't ask for them, and I didn't get them, so I played with 11. To be honest, I went into 1 Abyss Dweller and 1 Constellar Diamond. That was about it. And they were both in the same rounds. Outside of that, I never really went to my extra deck. For the side, something that not a lot of people are seeing is this card right here. Game 1, this card isn't very good. They might only have 1 or 2 outs to your scouts. But when it comes to games 2 and 3, they're going to be siding in a bunch of outs to that scout. So the biggest thing you want to do is protect it. So I played Pendulum Impenetrable. I resolved this card about 6 times this weekend. And every time, except for maybe one, this card was super clutch. It stopped them from doing a giant swing that would put me out of the game. It actually saved me from an Excitin, which this deck can't really beat for the most part. Usually Excitin kills this deck 100%, but because of Impenetrable, I was able to save my 2 Pendulum monsters, one of them being a Scout, and I was able to win the game because of it. So this card definitely came up really clutch. Something I would change in my sideboard, I would maybe play only 1 of the Fiends, and I don't know if I would play it at 2 or if I'd just play a different card. But every time I had these cards, I never felt like they were very good for me. I just never really liked them in my sideboard. For the main deck, the biggest question with monsters is obviously the Apocalypse Fort Tower, but this card is absolutely insane when it hits the field. People don't play it because it might bulk up your hand every now and then. But when I was playing it this weekend, it never really bulked up my hand, not at all. And every time it hit the board, I won the game, because that's the kind of ability this thing has. The only out Necros has to it is if they're playing Decisive Armor. They can help beat over it that way. But it's really hard for them to have the Decisive Armor, obviously, because a lot of them are siding it. The clean matchup, if they play a Carrier or Stealth or Disc in their Pendulum Zone, and then they successfully tribute summon a Stealth, Shell, or Disc. And then the Satellar matchup if they have Honest, which a lot of them have moved to either playing 1 or no Honest. So, I mean, it's not like it's an easy card for them to counter. And outside of Warning, it's really hard to stop at the summon. For spells, my spells are pretty basic, but I didn't play Pot of Duality. The biggest reason why I didn't play Pot of Duality was because I felt like I didn't need it. Obviously, it helps consistency early game, but late game, when you want to make pushes, you want to special summon monsters, you want to be pendulum summoning to make that Disc or that Stealth and gain some sort of field advantage. Duality just doesn't help you. It really just hinders your ability to pendulum summon and do all that. Obviously, it's great in certain situations, but I just felt like I wanted to minimize the ability for it to be a bad dead card in my deck. And then the questionable card, obviously, my trap is just 3 Fiendish Chain. Most people are playing 2, and they're playing 2 Veilers with it. But I wasn't a fan of Veiler this weekend. I just never thought I really needed it. The only thing it stops that Fiendish Chain doesn't is it stops if Manju or sends you on turn 1. But that's about it. Outside of that, Fiendish Chain does everything Veiler does. Obviously, it's MSTable. They're both going to die to Book of Moon. But in total, I just think Fiendish Chain was a much better choice for me this weekend. It fit my playstyle a bit more. And it definitely worked out in the best for me. So that's just my choice on that one. And then I played 2 Lose a Turn. I probably should have played 3. Looking back at it, I might try to play 3. I don't know exactly how I'd play 3, what I'd cut, but I'd probably try to play 3. I just didn't see it as often as I'd probably want to. Overall, the deck did pretty well this weekend. I was 6-0-1 at one point, hit a bit of a skid, and I was out by round 11. I was close to top 64 with it, but it's just that point where you just can't draw scouts anymore. And the feature match, game 2, it was like that. Game 1, it was just a mirror match that he got the better edge and he went first. That happens. But outside of that, most of my losses were just I didn't draw scout and I just didn't draw well enough to win the game. That's going to happen. It doesn't matter what deck you're playing, how consistent you make it. It's going to happen eventually. So it happened to me, and it ended up costing me a top 64 bid, but it happens. I definitely suggest you guys try this deck. It's pretty consistent. It's a lot of fun. If you're like me and you just want to walk into an event and say, I don't really want to think, this is probably the deck for you. And yeah, that's it for me. So as always, guys, like, comment, subscribe, and later.